Alright, hello everyone, this is Sonic Goon, coach of the Lansdowne Guzzlord, after this season of SKL that I've been uploading so far. I'm in week 3 of that, currently about to play my week 4 match later on this week, uh, but going up forward I'm going to be retiring the Weird Wailord name. I've had it for about over a year at this point, so I think it's time for me to move on, because I just want something new, and I'd rather have a better mascot than Wailord, because Wailord sucks. So yeah, this is the Villanova Pokemon League. I'm actually a alumni now, which is weird to say, but I graduated this year from Villanova. This is the collegiate Pokemon League, basically, that we're running. This is our 6th season, and the let's just get right into the first pick. First pick, I had pick 5, so I went Tornadus Therian. This is probably not the best pick I could have made here. There's only other monsters here, or other threats here that I could have taken, but Regenerator's a broken ability, and I genuinely never really used this Pokemon in draft, or even laddering in general, so I just really wanted to use this Mon, and I just like drafting a really fast Mon for my first pick, so I don't really have to worry about speed later on. It has really good utility now that it has boots, so I can run Defog really well consistently. It also has access to Nasty Plot, so I don't even have to really rely on Hurricane to break through things. Because I could just Nasty Plot, Air Slash, or even just do a physical set with some sort of setup, or just run Band and a Brave Bird or whatever physical flying moves it has. It also is a really just good move pool in general. It has things like Heat Wave, Knockoff, Superpower, and Sludge Bomb, Sludge Wave, just a lot of the things that all the genies get, and just having the genie move set here is just really useful for me. Unfortunately, no Prankster like normal Tornadus has, but I'd rather take the 121 speed over Prankster any day of the week, just because Prankster has counters in this Gen 7 and forward, and I just genuinely think that this Mon is just a really good, solid first round pick. Also, this draft is a points-based draft, so I have 110 points to go through, so that's why I have the points there to see, so you can see how much I paid for these Mons throughout the draft. Alright, so next pick, I went with Mega Glade. I was actually pretty surprised that it made it to me. This is definitely one of the best Pokemon in draft, no hold barred. This thing is ridiculous. It's a physical Mon that has Gardevoir's moveset, so it has the crazy physical moves that Gardevoir had for some reason, and then even more just craziness over all the fighting type stab that it gets. Unfortunately, there's no actual really good physical psychic stab, so that's something that hinders it, but rarely you're usually just clicking psychic moves for coverage, but in general you're clicking fighting and knockoff. But yeah, this Mon is ridiculous. Base 165 attack, even not even fully invested, does ridiculous amounts of damage. It also has a surprising amount of bulk and 115 special defense, so this Mon can pretty much take a hit and Drain Punch back all the damage that you did. It also has bulk up sets, Source Down sets, it has Shadow Sneak, so it has priority. This thing's just really good. The base 110 speed is something I wish it didn't have. I wish the special defense and speed stat did switch, because the 110 speed tier, there's a lot of Pokemon that can test it, like Latios, the Latios, Frostlass, the Raichus, Lycanroc Dusk, things of that nature, and I think that the 115 speed tier would help it against those kinds of Pokemon a lot, because you're going to be relying a lot on speed ties and hoping that they go in your favor, or you just magically live. But 68 HP isn't that much HP, which is bad, and then 95 defense, while not terrible, is still stuff that leaves to be desired. So now I've spent 18 points on 2 Pokemon. Now I'm going into my 3rd round pick. And I go Slowbro. I'm surprised this made it to me as well. Slowbro is fat. That's just it's what it's known to be. 110 defense is ridiculous. Water types are just so bulky and so annoying to deal with. And I always prefer to have defensive waters than offensive waters. Um, it also has access to Regenerator, which now I have a regen core with Torrentine and Slowbro, so I could just kind of switch around and never die. Because, like, Tornadus can probably take more of those special hits, while Slowbro can take those physical hits really well, and then teleport out, and you can't do anything about it, because you're not going to kill Slowbro in, like, 2 hits, unless you're, like, an electric type. So, or Tapu Koko, which is an electric type, but Tapu Koko 2 KO is like everything that isn't like Steelix or something. But yeah, 95 HP, which is really good, so it can tank really well. Surprisingly strong, 100 base 100 special attack, so even uninvested Scalds are still doing a lot of damage. And also Scald is just a really good move. 30% chance to burn is always appreciated, especially since that shuts down leftovers recovery, and effectively acts like a knockoff in of itself. And then it also has options like Trick Room. So like obviously my first 2 picks don't really appreciate Trick Room, but I can always draft Mons in the back that will appreciate that. So you always have to think like, man, what if he just leads like Glade, tries to punch holes into my team, and then he goes Slowbro, sets a Trick Room, and then wins. So that's just kind of like what I'm keeping in mind here. I have such a good core going on right now. I just need to patch it up. So this pick, I was thinking of Sylveon, Togekiss, and Crocodile. And in my last season of the VPL, I made the mistake of not drafting a Dark type. So I was like, man, I really need to get a solid, good, Dark type that does things. And I know Crocodile does this really well. So that's why I went with Crocodile first. And then literally the next pick was Togekiss. And then 2 picks after that was Sylveon. So now I'm in dire need of a Fairy type. But paid 12 points for this. I think Crook is... Everyone knows that Crook is good. This Mon's really just solid rocker, solid offensive Mon. Ground Dark is just a really good typing. I wish that Tyranitar had that, but 92 speed. It's not too slow, but it's definitely teasing those base 100 Mons to make sure that they do run the plus speed nature, because if they don't, then I can very easily creep them and just hit them with the very powerful knockoff. It also has really weird abilities too, like Anger Point, which is if you get hit by a crit, you get +6 attack. He also has Moxie, so like I can do a setup sweeper kind of thing with Scarf, like switching on something I would probably guaranteed die and like bait my opponent to sacking. And now that they baited, now I baited them into a sack. Now I can actually win the game off of that. So yeah. This is just here because I wanted a Dark type, and I knew this was a really good Dark type. I wish it was a little bit more bulky, but I have the Pokemon known as Slowbro already, so I didn't really feel like I needed it. But that might get shown in later picks. Next pick, I have pick 69. Nice. I went with Slowbro, or not Slowbro, Galarian Weezing. I didn't plan this, it just kind of happened, but yeah, I got 69 420. Like the stars aligned. Like I'm kind of spoiling this because I already did play my week 1 match before I'm recording this, but in that game I named it Doug because Doug Dimmadome, but like that's a low tier meme. Like the stars have aligned for 69 420, and that joke to not be cringe because it's legit the 69th Pokemon draft, and it's fucking Weezing. It's the Bongmon. So yeah. Poison Fairy is so good. Like this typing is insane. Like we should have already had a Poison Fairy, but then instead of making a Plague Doctor Mon, they made a Aromatisse. So this thing has Defog. It has its own signature move in Strain Steam, which can confuse. Has a 30% chance to confuse, if I'm not mistaken. Poison has just been becoming a better and better type over time. It has access to Flamethrower and Fire Blast. Pain Split, Will-O-Wisp, Toxic, and It also has, and also since this is DLC 2, I have access to Misty Explosion, so I can definitely, if I don't really need this, or I can just sack it and run like Misty Surge, Misty Explosion, and just blow something away. So yeah, this mon's just kind of here because I needed a defogger, because my only defogger up to this point was Tornadus, and I also wanted a fairy type. And this also gives me Unite Grounded Poison if I'm not running Levitate, which is just very good to have, because you don't want someone to pull up on you with Toxic Spikes and just ruin your entire life. So this is where my draft kind of went a little down the toilet. Luckily, Copperajah still exists, so I might actually trade for Copperajah here. But yeah, Registeel, it's a bulk steel mon that sets up rocks. That's about it. Next, a 10-pointer, I feel like it should be lower. I kind of completely overlooked Copperajah here, because if I saw Copperajah, I would have definitely drafted that first instead of Registeel here. But oh well, I can still trade for this. As I'm recording this, I probably will actually end up trading for Copperajah. But yeah, Registeel, man, you are so passive. This is just such a passive Pokemon. But yeah. Alright, next pick, I went with even more fat. I went with Licky Licky. Why did I grab Licky Licky? Two things. I needed a normal type, and I needed something that passes Wish, because Wish is broken in this generation. Or really, it has always been really good, but Wish TP has kind of just shown how really vital having Wish on your team has just been. So, base 110 HP Wishes are really good. It helps out my Glade a lot, because I'm pretty sure if I Wish with Licky Licky, I'm almost guaranteed to fully heal from it, which is insane now that I'm saying it. Yeah, and, you know, 110, 95, 95 defenses in general is just really solid, so like I can run it physically defensive, specially defensive, run the leftovers, and then like Wish, Earthquake, Knockoff, Body Slam, something along those lines. And that's just a really solid coverage. It also has it actually has a really insane physical move pool, so like if I get rid of things that could probably, you know, scare it out, like fighting types or just mons with fighting coverage, I can kind of just sit there and never die, because I will most likely never get to it KO'd unless it's super effective. And then I just wish back all that health. And you can't really do anything about that, so I win the war of attrition. So yeah, I think Licky Licky is definitely one of the more slept on lower point mons. But it's definitely really good, you know, free Wi-Fi. You can't go wrong with free Wi-Fi, but yeah, fat boy. And my next pick was Guzzlord, the mascot. I actually wasn't really planning on drafting Guzzlord, but it actually really works well with my team if I do end up trading Registeel for Copperajah, which I most likely will. This thing has an absurd base 223 HP stat, so, but unfortunately its defense and special defense are much to be desired. I really wish that they'd just given it a little bit. I mean, like, taking even, like, 20 off of that HP stat and putting it into the defense and special defense would probably make it better. But, so be. This is another dark type. This is actually my dragon. And like I said with Slowbro, I have that Trick Room option, so this is me cashing in on that, because now I have a very, very scary Trick Room sweeper in the name of Guzzlord, because he doesn't really get chipped down by like low base power priority moves. You have to kill it. So, you know, and it has base 101 special attack, or base 107 attack and 97 special attack. So at +1 from its beast boost, it's just basically tearing holes through teams. It has such a good move pool. Dark Dragon is such a good offensive typing. Because it also has Sludge Wave, so it deals with the fairies that will obviously want to switch in on that typing. And then, like, it also has Fire Blast to deal with the steel types that want to switch in on the dragon moves. So, yeah, I think that this mon is just really... It's not really underrated, because it is not the greatest, but it has so many weird niches that it can always shine. It can almost always shine if you build it the right way. And my next tier pick, my next pick is Tangela. This might be my favorite grass type of the low tiers, because after Tangela, I feel like you're just kind of drafting a grass type so you don't get swept by Zygarde. But even then, like after this point, you're going to get swept by Zygarde regardless, because your grass type is ass. Tangela pairs well with my Regen core that I brought back from my first 3 picks. So it pairs well with Slowbro and Tornadus. Leech Seed support is just definitely appreciated on this team, because like I can Leech Seed and then you go into a mon that scares us out, and then I can definitely take some more damage. This thing's surprisingly defensively bulky, with base 115 defense, which is just great to have. And I just really like this mon. I'm also not 100% sure if I'm going to keep this, because I might just downgrade this to a lower tier grass just to grab something better for any of my other mons. But this is definitely like one mon that I'm very comfortable using, because I know what this thing does. It's very, very solid at what it does, and it lives Zygarde hits and then Leech Seeds and just kind of stalls it out. But last but certainly not least is Arcanine. Up until this point, I think I wasn't drafting the best after the Registeel pick, and then I think I kind of almost got back on track with Licky Guzzlord, but then Tangela I feel like could have been better, because Arcanine's not the greatest. I mean, like, this one is very solid at what it does. It's a mid-tier fire type, so you know. But like, I have to run boots every week because fire is so trash of a typing that, and it doesn't have immediate power, so I'm going to have to run like setup if I wanted to break anything. But it has a lot of positives going for it. Intimidate's is great. You know, having 2 Intimidate mons on my team looking like VGC, but you know, 110 attack is nothing to really scoff at, because if I get, you know, a good hit on something that's not physically strong, I can definitely take some things out. But I think that Arcanine over time has been slowly but surely being overthrown by better and better fire types, and I think that going forward, he might just even fall even further unless they give him a significant buff to his stats, because base 555 is not the best for your stat total if you're not going to be like super committed to one stat over the other. And like 110, 100 offensives and like 95 speed is just not great. So it's kind of like a jack of all trades and master of none kind of deal going on with this mon, and that's why I drafted it, because I needed a fire type and I needed something that isn't slow but can still be bulky. And this definitely fits the bill, but I might just trade this out for something else, a faster fire type in the higher tiers, or even something that's a little bit more fragile in the lower tiers, just to have a dedicated fire sweeper. But yeah, overall, I don't think this draft is bad. It just definitely could be better. I think the first 5 mons on my team are very, very good. Galarian Weezing actually has a very good synergy going on with each other. That's like even what their roles are online on the Smogon ladder. They definitely work well. Slowbro, Glade, and Torn-T definitely also work really well together. So I think that these 5 mons are definitely a staple that I should keep. But Registeel, I think I should upgrade this to Copperajah, and then maybe downgrade Tangela to something that's even lower tier, like a 2-point grass type, and then go for like a 14-point fire type that's still there. Because I desperately need something that is another breaker, because right now my only real breaker is Mega Glade. If I had something that wasn't, if I had something that would also break that isn't slow, like, you know, Guzzlord can be a breaker, but it's slow, so it needs to be Trickery breaker. If I had something else that helps him break, like, his role is definitely, he can do more things, and shine his really ridiculous move pool way more. Yeah. So, I don't think this is necessarily, again, this is not necessarily a bad team, but this is definitely something that I can improve on. This might be one of my worst drafts recently, just because I don't think that I was using the best Pokemon, and I just drafted wrong. I think that if I drafted like Togekiss or Sylveon instead of Crocodile there, Crook would still have been there, and I'd probably been able to go for something else. Because then after that, I probably would have realized I still have Guzzlord, and Guzzlord works really well with Slowbro. But yeah, all right. As I said, I've already done my week 1 match, so I'll probably be recording that later on this week, maybe around like Sunday-ish. But yeah, look forward to this, and hope I do well this season.